Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah amma ba'd. So today I am Akhi Ukasha. I am the vice president of the Kean Muslim Student Association, and inshallah I'll be the vice president for the next 10 months. So I just want to have this video for the first video of the channel. We're not professionals at this. Well, I'm not a professional at this. My term as a vice presidency, I just want to explain what we want to do as an MSA, both internally and externally, and inshallah, hopefully, because we are not here just for our academic year. Whatever we do in the MSA, for the MSA, inshallah, we hope for it to continue on way after we're gone. Lead by example type of way. I want to begin by having what I want to describe the MSA as, and before we get to that, I want to explain what the MSA can do and have it sort of like the blueprint when it comes to for students to actively take part in the MSA, and when it comes to planning events or just being there for a brother or being there for a sister. Muslim students would not hesitate to take part in their college respective MSA. It doesn't have to be Kean only, it could be Rutgers, it could be NJIT or whatever, Arizona State even, if you want to go there. Three things I believe make up an MSA. Number one, a center for safety. We as Muslims, alhamdulillah, we're not, Muslims in America, we're not facing as much open criticism when it comes to openly practicing our faith. Alhamdulillah, we are able to pray wherever we want, and if you're someone like me, doesn't hesitate to pray on whatever ground is available. Prior to the MSA, I used to pray outside next to the car in the parking lot, and even when it was raining, until I found out that we actually had an MSA room, which I'll get back to that later about discoverability and stuff like that. A center for safety, for students to walk in, and for Muslim students to walk in and feel welcome, to feel like you will always have someone to talk to feel a safe place to pray. If you are running in between classes and CAS, or Center for Academic Studies 442, happens to be on your way to your second class, come here, pray, and then go about your day. If a non-Muslim walks in here, they should feel a little bit of Bengali accent. Should feel ready, or at least invited to inquire about Islam. Feel like, contrary to what the news may report about us, about Islam, about Muslims, have a sense of, have a peace of mind, if you will, where non-Muslims should never feel hesitant, should not feel any restriction to inquiring about Islam, and maybe even they might be interested to convert or revert someday. So number one, the MSA, whichever room it may be, the organization itself should feel like it is a center for safety. Number two, a place for worship, and that it should be known so. So when I first started at Kean in fall 2021, I didn't know Kean had an MSA room. I didn't know that we Muslim students had a place to pray. And up until the tail end of spring 2022, sorry, I used to pray on my own home, whatever musalla I brought from home. I would pray next to my car outside in the parking lot, and when it was raining, my musalla would get wet and it would just be a whole mess. And then I asked around, and like, oh, there's the small room for Muslims to pray in at CAS 442. So I went into the room, and it was like a masjid in here, a whole room. There's a Quran, a shelf full of Qurans and tafsir in the right corner. There's a sister side, there's a brother side, there's a visible divider between the two sides. And there's like a small leisure side where students can sit down, study, do their homework, do assignments and whatnot. So up until then, I didn't know we Muslim students had a place to pray, to do our assignments away from the public, maybe be in an environment where it's Muslims all around you, hence the MSA room. So that's what I want, that's what we as the e-board want for the MSA room to be, as the organization itself. We want the MSA organization to be a center for safety and a place for Muslim leisure, so for prayer and to do whatever assignments we need to take care of. Number 3, we want the MSA organization to be a symbol of identity. For our own sake, you could identify as bread if you want to, it's fine. Or a loaf of bread, or salad dressing, if you will. But for number 3, I want the MSA room, the MSA organization, to be a beacon for what Muslims can and should be acting. So we are basically a means for how the public portrays Muslims. Perceives Muslims, that's a better word. So whatever actions that we do in public, that reflects on what the public may perceive Muslims to be. So we have to be our best behavior in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. That includes dressing modestly, praying our salawat, and maintaining an overall Islamic mannerism. So that way, when a non-Muslim, or at least a prospective Muslim who is looking upon us and saying, you know, the MSA, the way the MSA acts, it's not what the news makes Muslims out to be. In fact, it's almost the exact opposite. The Muslim students here at the MSA are not driving Toyota Tacomas. The white pickup trucks that you see in the news with the guns mounted in the back. Rather, they are spreading peace regardless of the student religion. They are helping anyone in the student body regardless of their belief, regardless of their faith. And they're just giving Islam the perfect image that it deserves. We're not guns a-blazing. We're not always causing havoc in a civilized society, but rather we are trying to not only protect the Muslim identity, not only protect the Islamic community, but we also want to show the world that being a Muslim is being an agent of peace rather than destroying peace. So that's what we want the MSA to be. A center for safety, a beacon for Muslims to feel safe, to practice their deen. And last but not least, we want the MSA organization, the MSA student body, the MSA room to correctly portray Islam to the world, because we are the example, regardless if we want to be or not, but we are the example that we must provide, so that whenever someone sees Islam portrayed wrongly on the news, in the media, they can refer to us and say, oh, maybe you're not so bad. I'm Akhi Okasha. I'm the vice president for this academic year, and feel free to reach us in the comments. Our email is in the About section of our YouTube channel. And we have tons of events and lectures and different activities planned for us this coming year. Assalamu alaikum.